Hi, this is Waithaka welcoming you to a step-by-step tutorial towards mastering ArchiCAD 19. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to launch the ArchiCAD program, pressing pallets on ArchiCAD workspace. We'll also be looking at various components of ArchiCAD workspace, e.g. the toolbox, the information box, the navigator, and such other components. We'll also look at various commands that are mostly used in ArchiCAD. Let us begin. So for us, for you to be able to use ArchiCAD, whichever version it is, and for this case we'll be looking at ArchiCAD 19. Basically, you need the program having been installed in your PC so that you are able to launch it and use it to draft architectural projects. And one way is to double click on the ArchiCAD and launch the program, or alternatively you can right click on the ArchiCAD and choose the option to open. For this case we will double click it and allow it to launch. So once it launches, it will give you a pop-up window where it will show you works that has been done recently, and then because we don't want to open an existing project, so we will just cancel the recovery window that has popped up so that we can go directly to a new project. And then once it's launching, it will give you a startup pop-up window for ArchiCAD 19. And then in this pop-up window we have a number of parameters. One of them is to create a new project, the other one is to open a project. So if you select open a project, then you have to open an existing project, but for this case we will select create a new project. And then of course there are other parameters like the profile that is already in use. For this case, because this program has been used before, that's why it's giving us an option of using the Rust profile that was used. The difference between the default profile and the Rust profile used is that the Rust profile used will give you the settings that we are done with the Rust project, but for this case we want to start a complete new project and we will choose default profile. So we'll choose default profile, and then again if we still do not want to continue launching the ArchiCAD, we can quit, because it's giving us an option to quit, and again or proceed and open a new project. And for us we want to proceed, so we will click on new. There we are. We will cancel this pop-up window so that we have now the workspace for the ArchiCAD, and this is the space where we usually all the drafting work or the design work is carried out in this workspace. That's how we launch ArchiCAD, so that we are able now to get a workspace for us to work on whatever project we want to work on. Then the next thing we need to look at is how we insert pallets in the ArchiCAD workspace. Pallets are basically the various components that are found in ArchiCAD that will assist us to navigate and be able to draft an architectural program. An example is the toolbox. We have the information box, we have the navigator, and we want first of all to delete them from the workspace so that we can see how, in case you find a workspace that the pallets are not shown or are not indicated, then we'll know how to bring them into the workspace. So we'll just cancel out all of them so that we have a purely blank workspace. So for us now to bring the palette, we will go to our menu bar and click on window. Once we click on window, you can see we have pallets, and then we also have another drop down menu where it's giving you quite a number of pallets that you can attach to the workspace to be able to use them. And for this case, for us, we'll only pick the minimums that we need to, or that we need for them to guide us in drafting whatever project we will be drafting. The first palette we'll be able to put in our workspace is the toolbox. So we click on toolbox, and definitely it will appear on our left. It appears on our left hand side. This is not custom made on that left hand side. You can change it to whatever part of the window you want it to be, depending on how you like it. But for my case, I just position it to the left of my window. Then again we look for another palette. So again we go to our menu bar, we go to window, palette, and then we bring back the information box. The information box, again, you can still position it wherever you want on the window. So it's just a matter of positioning them how you feel like they would interact properly, or you would like them to interact within your window. Then again, we can also bring in the navigator, because we still need it to navigate from one workspace or one layer to the other. So again, we go to window, click on window, go to palette, and then we look for navigator. And there we are. The navigator has been positioned in our workspace. Can still pull down to open more settings. Whatever palette you want to appear on the workspace, that's how we place pallets on the workspace. Then the other thing that we look at is we look at in a number of these pallets and see what they usually contain. One of the major pallets in ArchiCAD, which is quite useful and gives us a lot of architectural elements for us to use in drafting, is what is known as toolbox. And toolbox contains quite a number of elements, architectural elements that we will require to draft whatever project that we'll be drafting. So we want to look at a number of commands or a number of elements that are in the toolbox, so that we are able to know how to also navigate within this toolbox. So the first thing that is found in the toolbox is the arrow, and the arrow helps us to disengage the cursor anytime we want to disengage the cursor. So for example, if the cursor is engaged with the wall, it will give us a positive sign to show that the cursor is engaged. And therefore, if we want to disengage the cursor, we'll just click on the arrow. Then we have marquee. Marquee is a component that allows us to select or to surround a particular component when drafting, and we can maybe zoom out or zoom in that particular region. We can convert that particular section into 3D. That's what Marquee helps us to do. So we'll be able to segregate a particular part of a project, and then we can either zoom in, we can either convert it to 3D, just that particular part where we've been able to marquee. And again, of course, the other functions that Marquee carries out, which we'll see when we start working on a specific project. Then we also have the wall icon, or the component of the wall, and the component of the wall is the normal walling that we have, and the toolbox and the information box works in synchronization, such that if you click on the wall, you will find that the details for the walls are displayed in the information box. Whatever we've placed here at the top is what you are calling the information box, and you'll find that if you click on the doors, then it changes and gives you details on the door. If you click on the slab, likewise it will give you details for the slab, more information about the slab. So for us now, we are on the wall, and we can see it has given us a number of details about the walling. And for us even to be able to see more details in depth, we will click on the settings dialog, and it will give us a pop-up window where now we can be able to do more settings for the wall, depending on the project that we are working on. And again, we can change the components here depending with the project that we are working on. So we can set the height, we can set the thickness, and so many other things that maybe when we are working on a specific project, we'll be able to see how we can utilize those commands. Then we have door. So again, we click door, then we also follow up and click on the setting dialog to be able to see more details about the doors. And we have quite a number of doors that we are given. Like for this case, we are talking of hinged doors, so we have quite a number of them displayed in this preview box. We also have garage doors. We also have rotating doors, sliding doors. There are quite a number. Gives us quite a number of options to choose from, sliding, folding doors, and so forth. So we have quite a number of doors that we can choose depending on the function of the door. Then again, on this preview and positioning area, we are able to set the width, we are able to set the height, we also able to set the distance between the door and the slab, and so many other settings like demonstrated here. You can also choose the type of door that you would want to be reflected in your design. So there are so many of them, you can choose from there. Again, you can choose handles. There are so many settings about that. And then there are more settings. You can change the sizes of the windows, the sizes of the door, sizes of the framing, and the rest. So there are quite a number of settings. We'll be looking at all these settings as we move on. There are more settings. But when we'll be working on an existing or on a sample, a specific project, we'll be able to look at quite a number of these settings and be able to see how we can utilize them. So the same case for Windows, to give you quite a number of windows, basic windows. There are quite a number to choose from. Bay windows. You also have arches and openings. So there are also quite a number of doors, sliding doors, special window doors. So there are quite a number, so we choose them from there. Again, we can set the width, we can set the height, we can also adjust other basic settings. We can navigate between within the door settings using these two arrows, back and forth, and so many other settings that we'll still see as we move on. So that this is the pallet. So we also have the column, we also have the beams, we have the slab, we have the staircase, we have the roof, shell. All these are components within the toolbox that we can use. Then the toolbox itself is divided into two sections, where we have the design component and we have what we call the document component. The document component will give us things like dimension line, level, dimension, text, label, fill tool, the line, arc and circles, polyline. So all those will appear there. We also have section line. We can toggle between using these drop down arrows. We can minimize the design component and maximize on the document, where we have the section line, elevation, and we'll be able to use these components when we'll be working on a specific project. And I think toolbox is one of the major components of ArchiCAD, which helps us to design and even be able to produce these components in 3 dimensions. Therefore, on our right hand side we have the navigator. Navigator helps us to navigate between either the ground floor to first floor to second floor, from one elevation to the other, from section, generating perspective, and so forth. Also, we are able to derive the various master layout sheets that we want: A1, A2, A3, A4. So this is the interactive palette that will help us to even save our drawings on a layout, on a specific layout, whether it's an A1, an A2, an A3. We'll be able to toggle between floor to floor, height to different heights from one elevation to the other, and so forth. So those are the 3 major palettes I would wish us to look at for the time being. We'll also look at others as we move on and as need arises. Then again, on our workspace for the ArchiCAD, we can see we have a number of other components, like the title bar, where we indicate the title of the project that you are working on. Or once we save the project that you are working on, it will be displayed on the title bar. Then we have the menu bar, where we have quite a number of components. We have file, and the file, we have quite a number of components. If you want to open a new project, to open an existing one, you want to save the project, save as, you want to save it in different types. But all these things we'll be looking at these commands as we work on a specific project. You can still input external content, you can still print, you can still do quite a number of things under file. Then we also have edit. We also have quite a number of commands, repeat, revision, paste, and so forth. We also have view, where we have things like guidelines, snap points, grid display. We are able to use these options whenever we require them. Then we also have design. Design is quite important when we'll be setting the story settings from one level to the other, to be able to help us to even add stories if you require 4, 5, 6 story building. So we'll be able to do the settings here under story settings. Like you can see under story settings, for this case we have 3 floors. We have 3 stories. That is the ground floor, the first floor, and the second floor. So if you need to add to insert below, so we'll be able to do that. If you need to add above, you need to delete a story, we are able to do that under design. Then you also have other options, a document, where we are able also to set pen sizes and so many other things. Then we also have option. We have element attributes, where we can set a number of layers, line types, field type, building materials, and so many other components, as we'll see when we'll be utilizing or we'll be working on a specific project. Like I said earlier, when we are beginning, we'll be drafting a simple farmhouse, so we'll be able to see how we can utilize these commands. So that is those are quite a number of things that I wanted us to look at under the workspace for ArchiCAD. But maybe before we wind up with that section, it's worth to mention that in ArchiCAD we also have another shortcut bar, where we are able to get the same commands that we saw, like in file we have save as. We are able to get those commands here. We can click on them and still achieve the same objective. We can still print from here. We can still have other commands, inject parameters, pick parameters, find and select. So there are quite a number: split, trim, suspend grouping. There are quite a number, and we will be using them. And I think when we'll be working on a project, we'll be able to see how important the shortcuts to these commands are.